Welcome to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. Use the power of discovering new habits to create success in all areas of life. Body, fitness and nutrition, being, spirituality, passion and purpose, balance, marriage, kids and relationships, business, marketing, sales, leadership and systems. Transform your life by learning how habits work. And now your host, a husband, father, entrepreneur, trainer, coach, and warrior, Jesse Ewell.
Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and today we're going to be talking about the habit of overreacting. And I have a beautiful guest on here, actually very hot guest on here today, which is my lovely wife.
I don't like the word lovely.
Well, hot wife.
That's better.
I'm excited you're here.
Woo! Thanks.
It's great to have you.
This is so exciting.
So, I wanted to talk a little bit about overreacting and how this happens as married couples and how sometimes we get into the habit of doing this. You ever?
Do I know anyone who does
Yeah,
that?
do you know anyone?
Off the top of my head?
Yeah, just in general.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you're throwing yourself under the bus.
No, I'm talking about you.
I'm kidding. All right, so yesterday, our day was going great.
Amazing.
We went...
No, let's start from the morning. Like, I didn't even recognize my husband. Literally.
Oh, come on.
No, this is good. This is
Okay.
great. I'm celebrating you. I can't even remember where we were going and what we were doing. Oh, Bubba had rugby and we were getting the girls. I was getting the girls ready to go pick up Bubba. And Jesse had started and had been doing, well, it started actually Saturday night, doing laundry, like literally washing it, drying it, folding it, and putting it away. And I looked at the girls and I said, "Hey, have you seen your dad?" And they're like, "Mom, he's right here." I'm like, "No, your dad. Like, where? I don't know this guy. Who is this guy? I would like him to stick around." Like, it was amazing. The day was going amazing.
Yeah, so let's...
Pancakes made, laundry done.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. Like, it's not like I don't do stuff around the house.
Honey, don't let this trigger you. I never said you didn't do anything.
I'm not, but I very often make breakfast.
Right. Well, I'm talking about the laundry. The laundry piles up and piles up and piles up. So you were helping with the laundry. Yes, you do so much around the house, honey. And you are incredible at what you do at work. Yes, you get me coffee, you make breakfast, you take the girls.
But laundry's like straight to your heart.
Well, yeah, laundry's a lot. I mean, it sits there and it looks at me and I'm like, I got to get the laundry done. And then it turns,
I think I did 9 loads yesterday.
Right. And maybe that's, you know what I was thinking? Maybe you finally felt what it feels like at the end of the day. So that's where you went.
No, that
crazy.
Wasn't why I overreacted.
I think so. I was like, wow, he finally realizes what it feels like to like go nonstop and be like, yeah.
No, that wasn't why.
Well, it could be because sometimes I overreact in that situation where it's like nonstop and then you feel like everyone else is just, painting and drawing and
hanging out.
Yeah. Watching football.
All right. So, we went to pick up our son at rugby.
Mm-hmm.
And then you wanted to go to
I'll never get the name. Tavela.
Yeah, whatever. A store that decorates your house, basically a decoration store.
I'm looking for a new Christmas tree this year. So I wanted to see. And they have birds there and the girls love the birds.
Yeah. And so we were hanging out there having fun. And then I hadn't eaten in a while and we were looking for somewhere to eat, or actually I was, and
you were,
the one place was about to close. And so that wasn't an option. And then we went to another place and that was kind of when the downfall all started.
Yes. It was called Nomads. And Jesse had his eyes set on like a bowl, like a chicken.
I just
bowl.
wanted to eat.
Okay.
My eyes were set on eating.
But he didn't clarify that. So when the kids are with us, it's a little different. And as a mom, I think we see this, but clearly his focus, I mean, he was laser focused just on eating. And I really had no idea how intense this was until I said, I don't think this is a good place for everyone to eat. And literally, I have no idea what happened after that.
Oh, come on. Well, what happened is I said, okay, are you kidding me?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, he wanted our son to go get our daughter a burger because there was nothing for her to eat. And I was like, no, let's not go to 5 different restaurants. And I'm not really sure if I want, what Jocelyn's going to eat here. So he stormed out of there. Like, he's 10 feet in front of us walking. I'm like, well, obviously daddy's hungry.
Yeah. And I mean, in a lot of these places, as parents, it's kind of like, everybody seems to like something different. One kid only eats 4 different types of foods, which is like chicken nuggets, pizza, macaroni and cheese, or hamburgers.
Top ramen.
And top ramen, which they don't serve at any restaurants. And then you have another one who is kind of on the same plan, but will eat a little bit more. You could add like quesadillas to that. And then
Parmesan cheese.
Parmesan cheese. And then we have a son who will eat. He's a good eater, and he'll eat. You can usually find something to eat.
And then you have a husband who will eat what he wants, and it's what he wants when he wants. And I think sometimes husbands forget because, we're used to like feeding ourselves and making, you make your food, and weekly during the week you get to pick your lunch and stuff. But sometimes you forget that we have to kind of, on the weekend when it's family day, we got to kind of hit all points of the.
Except as we keep going, we ended up, no matter where we go, one of our daughters can't usually eat something unless we want to go to like Ruby's Diner.
We're going to get all these messages on like, what do you mean she can't eat something? Then she shouldn't eat. What can't she eat?
Yeah, but basically it's
she wouldn't eat.
She won't eat anything unless it has to do with her four main food groups. And so she ended up getting McDonald's.
We went through the drive-through.
Yeah, we went through the drive-through and got her a burger. And then,
can anyone relate to this? I'd really like to know. Like, does anyone else drive through? Does anyone else go to a drive-through and then to a restaurant so one of their kids will eat?
Yeah, so it kind of turned into a shit show from that point forward. Well, or before that, but
Jesse was just cranky. And here's the deal. I get the what are we talking about? Overreacting?
Yeah.
Okay, or dropping below the line, or just getting hangry is what it's pretty like. But
yeah, for those of you who may not know this, we call this dropping below the line in marriage boot camp. It's where you fall below the line, and being above the line is where we want to be, but falling below the line is where sometimes I end up being.
So in this, and let's kind of walk through, because I'm sure this is very common. So when this happens, and when you have a wife who wants to keep the energy happy in the day, family filled, and everyone kind of, enjoying themselves. And I'm like, hey, babe, like your energy really sucks right now. I'm not sure what happened, but can you like turn it around? We're going to find somewhere to eat. And like, you just weren't having it at all, zero zilch. So maybe you have some advice for the wife that's trying to pull and help guide her husband back above the line, and he's just I don't know, he's like running down another field line.
Well, I mean at the time it was kind of like I just wanted to eat.
Okay.
And
so I gotta get you food.
I wanted to eat something that I wanted to eat, of course, and was healthy. I didn't want to go eat at Ruby's Diner where I wasn't going to eat anything.
Right.
Which was pretty much the only option.
And I guess sometimes when we overreact, we have to remind ourselves the situation, and maybe it's the kids, day. And so we may have to go to a Ruby's Diner and find something that we want to eat. So in this situation, I kind of just zipped my lips, and we ended up taking Julia through the drive-through. we ended up making it to a place that we could all eat. And yeah, I mean, it was good. I think you shifted above the line after that for a little while.
For the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had some fun last night.
Right. Well, you can, and I think you can always take it above the line. It's really, we talk about this in Marriagehood. It's this dance that you do. And, you know, obviously Jess and I lead and guide these couples, but we're constantly working on that. We're constantly challenging ourselves. We are far from perfect. I think we're always going to be working on our marriage, which is something that I can say I respect about us. And we've heard from a lot of our couples and a lot of people that have interest, just that we're so open and honest to share what we're walking through. Obviously that helps, you know, us in our marriagehood. And so, yeah, really, it's just when I think back to yesterday and, you know, I always try to go back, and think about the situation and what I did and how could I do something different. And how we walked through it. I guess it just really comes down to, I have to protect my energy, you know, wives or husbands, depending on the situation you're in. You have to kind of hold the space for your energy for the kids or for the situation or for the day. And you can let Mr. Overreactor go below the line and then feed him and then, you know, really hope that he'll come back above the line. But I guess where I'm going with this is it doesn't have to ruin the day. And the other part of it is, even if you argue or whatnot, you have to remember that may be 15 minutes of your day. Don't let it ruin the rest of your day. And that was easy for us to do that before we had tools, and literally I could be like, okay, like, let's keep the kids happy. And the kids kind of join in and they're like, yeah, Dad, what's wrong? Like, why are you so cranky? And it's kind of funny. It makes Jess a little more triggered, but we all kind of like join in and we ate and we had fun and we're able to shrug it off and move forward. And so obviously the kids see that, you know, mom and dad can, you know, walk through something like that and it leads them. But also for our marriage, it really helps me to celebrate that it doesn't have to go into the night, you know, and then the next day and become this like, well, you were such a jerk, you know, yesterday.
That I'm not going to talk to you today or the next day. Right.
And that was a pretty common theme because it just, you get mad and then whether you say hurtful things or do things, or it's like, well, you know, go sit in your, you know, your sad place or your.
Yeah. So I think a common thing that happens in couples is one, you know, overreacts or something happens, you know, whether they get triggered, the other one reacts to what that one's doing. And then it's kind of this back and forth thing that ends up, you know, in this kind of like fight, flight, or freeze. And a lot of times it ends up the next day not saying anything, you know, giving each other the silent treatment. And maybe that goes on for a day, 2 days, maybe a week. All of a sudden you're disconnected, and that just kind of fuels everything else. And this is a pretty common thing that we hear from, you know, couples that are walking into marriage boot camp, and it's the way that they become disconnected. And I really wanted to make a commitment last night to be like, okay, I don't want to go to bed pissed off or mad.
We hadn't talked about the actual incident. Yeah. We came home, did dinner and everything, and not that either of us.
And more laundry.
Not that either of us was mad, but yeah, and that's a pretty big deal for you. And I think I was sharing it today when I was journaling or whatnot. It's like, it is easy to just go on with your day and not talk about it, sweep it under the rug. But I think we all know in marriage that something else comes along and you don't talk about it and you sweep that under the rug, and then you have 5 to 10 things under the rug, and then it becomes a huge blow up. So the more you can not sweep anything, you know, end the day on a note of, hey, look, I'm sorry, like I was hungry and you did apologize. And I don't want to get there, and thank you for, you know, talking me through it or whatnot, and good night, and I love you. You know, that's huge.
Yeah.
for any couple, and that didn't come overnight at all. So don't think that it's as easy as that. But again, it just really comes down to, what do you want? Like, I don't want to continue to argue. And we both know, that there was a situation, someone was hungry, and we figured it out, and walked through it and worked through it. And really, that dance of, if he's going to be a little bit more cranky, well, I've got to really like up my energy here and protect my energy and for the kids and the rest of the day, to really keep it going. And I also think that your husband or your wife, depending on the side you're on in the situation, feeds off that, because they can, it doesn't continue. It doesn't continue to stay that way.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of times as couples, it's easy to react and respond to each other and what each other's doing and kind of feeds into it versus, kind of what you're saying is like, hey, if you don't feed into it, then there's nothing to react to. And so I'm going to choose a different thing. I'm going to choose a different place to go versus reacting.
Well, and something just came up as you said that, like you can react, respond, and then it just resurfaces. So like, how can we, not create that cycle?
Yeah. And one of the things that you talked about is when you sweep things under the rug, this is when this resurfaces, because it's kind of like you got into an argument today, but it was really the old argument that happened 2 weeks ago, a week ago, or a few days ago hadn't been communicated or talked about. And so all of a sudden, all this stuff comes out that you've been holding in for the last week. And I can't tell you like how often this happens inside of relationships, inside of marriages, where you are sweeping stuff under the rug, you're not communicating, and then all of a sudden there's this big blow up, and it's like, well, all it was about washing dishes or doing something around the house, and all of a sudden it turned into like a category 10 argument. But it was because we were sweeping things under the rug, and all these things resurfaced like you talked about.
Right.
So, how can someone or a couple work off this overreacting? Like we talked about, maybe being below the line, which is, maybe arguing, getting triggered, frustrated, upset. At the other one, how do we shift and get above the line?
Well, for me, I just forever, I wouldn't say anything. Like you would go below the line and I would just be like, what a jerk. Like, fine. Like you can just, and it's almost like you can just figure that out. But I think as a couple and wanting to work together and realizing like, that's not where I want him, I can, say some things. I can communicate what, almost what you're doing in a nice way. Hey, your energy's really shifted. What's going on? Let's just find somewhere to eat, and kind of get you processing like what's going on to get you to see where you've dropped. Not always do you see it at the moment, to then try to bring it back up.
Okay.
Because, I can even think, this just brought back something really quick, but I can even think of a time at Disneyland. I don't remember what happened, but there was an argument over something, and it could literally ruin the rest of something so special, and it's not worth that. So I would just say definitely communicate. Don't just sit back and let, whether it be your wife or your husband, go into that place. And I can think of one couple we're in marriagehood right now, and she just kind of shuts down, the fight, flight, or react. And she just shuts down. And I'm like, you need to say something. You need to bring it out of him, because that's definitely what's going to help him and guide him, and also get a faster like turnaround and bring someone above the line much faster than it is if you just say, oh, whatever, like let them go off, and then you're just both, sulking and not having what you want.
Yeah, maybe if you like grab me and hug me or
at the time I want to punch you. And so
well, then that would maybe help you get above the line too.
It's always like, really? Was going to turn into touch? Oh, honey, babe, I know you're hungry. Oh, I know.
That would be better.
Okay, we're going to get you something to eat. Don't you worry. Get real.
Yeah.
And the kids are going to be like, what? I mean, that would be fun to maybe like, I don't even know how you'd react to that at that moment.
Oh, I'd probably hug you back.
I don't know. We'll try it.
All right. So the next time you're overreacting, whether you're the wife, the husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever that is, if you're listening to this, the way to get to shift above the line is to have your spouse
hug you.
No. Try it and see what happens.
What is that movie, Trolls, when they like go hug time or whatever?
Yeah.
No.
Or I think the biggest thing is maybe it's such a shock to even think about it, but it's also going to change your state. Maybe I need to do like some push-ups or burpees next time.
Shift.
So I can like get out of that place that I'm in. But I think the important thing is to have a spouse that you can actually stand in the fight with and stand in the fire and not mess up your whole day or your whole energy from that.
Right. No, I totally agree.
Do you have any final words?
I'm just still thinking about this hugging thing and like how funny, like really like your spouse. I mean, yeah,
But think about it. It would be completely probably something that wouldn't happen and it would happen.
I think it could be like a real like tight, aggressive, like.
Yeah, I think I would like that.
Okay.
I'm going to try that on you next time.
Well, I don't go below the line, babe. So.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding. Anyway, yeah. So overreacting, I mean, I know we can all relate. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for being on here. It was great to have you.
You're welcome.
All right. If you guys are looking to connect further with a group of like-minded people, join myself and so many others in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Secrets group on Facebook, where I'll be dropping daily habits to help you live to your full potential. You want to be one of our next case studies and begin living this habit-based lifestyle. If you have questions, comments, or requests, feel free to reach out to me, Jesse at habitbasedlifestyle.com. Until next episode, have a great day.